Turmeric has been used for thousands of years in the East, where it has gained a reputation as a bit of a natural panacea, and it really is amazing. You know, it's got so many genuine health benefits, and it's well suited to pretty much everybody. So there are very few medicinal plants that possess such a wide range of diverse health benefits. So if you're only going to keep a very small selection of natural medicines at home, turmeric should definitely be one of them. Now, it's obviously most famous for its anti-inflammatory properties and its ability to reduce a lot of inflammatory conditions throughout the whole body. But in truth, turmeric has a lot more going on for it than that alone. Now, it has a number of unique anti-cancer properties, and it's anti-arthritic, it's analgesic, so it offers pain relief, it offers both liver and cardiovascular support, it protects against Alzheimer's disease, it offers more general support for cognitive function as well, and it even has antidepressant properties. It's also been used with great success in treating conditions like IBS, kidney infections, urinary tract infections, hemorrhoids, atherosclerosis, gallstones, jaundice. It's very good at treating headaches. It's very good at treating things like conjunctivitis. It's a very effective remedy for the common cold. It's very good at treating inflammatory conditions like bursitis. And historically, it was used as a very effective insect repellent, a remedy for food poisoning, and it was even used as an immediate antidote for scorpion stings. Turmeric enhances immune function by stimulating the activity of macrophages, which are immune cells that perform phagocytosis, which is the process of hunting down and consuming various different pathogens and toxins and debris found throughout the body. So this is obviously really good news immunologically, but it's going to further support the healing capacity of many of these other benefits that we're going to discuss throughout this video. Turmeric is the root of the Curcuma longa plant, which can be both wild and cultivated, and it's native to India, Nepal, and southwestern China, and it has a history of recorded use in these regions that stretches back about 5,000 years or so, which I think pretty much coincides with the dawn of Ayurvedic medicine, although it's no doubt going to have been used for a lot longer than, you know, just the duration of the written records on it. Now, it's a perennial shrub, but it's only really the root, or really the rhizome, that we're referring to when we're talking about turmeric in the context of a food or medicine. And it's become one of the most deeply revered natural substances within the Ayurvedic system of medicine, as well as in traditional Tibetan medicine. And in the East, turmeric is commonly used in curries, and it's actually what gives curries, a lot of different curries, their yellow or orange color. And even the robes of Buddhist monks were originally dyed using turmeric. And in ancient history, there was a lengthy period of time where turmeric was actually worth more than gold. Now, it's an excellent preservative that can not only prolong the edibility of other foods, but actually its own potency is maintained for a considerable length of time, especially when it's dried and it's stored properly. And it's the same kind of protective capacity that turmeric has that's said to preserve the bodily tissues, and in doing so actually slow down the aging process. According to both Ayurveda and Tibetan medicine, turmeric is suitable for all constitutional types because it balances all three doshas, or humas, which is basically the equivalent of balancing the 5 inner elements of earth, water, fire, wind, and space. And this is what makes it a truly superlative medicine that can be used very safely with no known contraindications. And Tibetan medicine texts state that turmeric has a hot and slightly bitter taste, yet it has a cooling nature, or a post-digestive effect that is cooling. And it's this that pacifies certain heat-related pathologies, and it also has something of an oily nature that reduces neurological disorders. Now, traditionally in Tibetan medicine, it's often prescribed for people with an excessive sexual appetite, and the remedy for that is to combine fresh turmeric with fresh liquid whey, and this consumed over even a short period of time is said to significantly reduce the sexual appetite. Now, the ways in which we can consume turmeric are pretty simple. It can be taken internally in a number of different ways. It can be used as a fresh root. We can use that in cooking, or we can use the dried root or the powder in cooking. We can actually juice the fresh root of turmeric and consume that juice, or we can prepare it as a tea or a tincture, both of which, again, can be prepared from the fresh root, the dried root, or the powder. And it can also be applied externally as a cream or as a paste to parts of the body that have become inflamed or injured or infected. An ancient and very popular Ayurvedic remedy is to prepare what's called the golden milk, and this is done by cooking turmeric in milk, obviously, for even just a short period of time to extract some of these beneficial constituents into the milk, and then we can add a number of different things, but generally we would add something like raw honey, not simply just for the sweetness and for the taste, but also because that's going to help drive this medicine into the body much more effectively. Now, in the West, obviously, we like to analyze things. We like to break them down into their working parts and their individual active constituents when we're talking about natural medicines. And turmeric is no stranger to this kind of analysis, and it has shown to contain high levels of manganese, iron, potassium, and B6. Now, it also contains volatile oils that are thought to provide quite a lot of its anti-inflammatory benefits, although not nearly as much as the unique phenolic constituent curcumin, which is what gives the inner flesh of turmeric root its characteristic orange color. Of the hundreds of different pharmacological constituents within turmeric, curcumin is the one that has been studied by far the most, and it's what the vast array of potential health benefits in turmeric have been generally attributed to. But I think it's important to point out here that in the ancient Ayurvedic system of medicine in India, they say that when we combine turmeric with black pepper, we render the curcumin up to 2,000 times more bioavailable and effective as a medicine. The anti-inflammatory effects of curcumin have been compared with pharmaceutical drugs like hydrocortisone, and in many cases it's been shown to have pretty much the same potency, but obviously without the unwanted negative side effects like, lowered immune function and gastrointestinal ulcers and that kind of thing. And going back to what we said a few moments ago, if you remember, turmeric is actually very good at enhancing immune function, and funnily enough, it's very good at reducing the formation of gastrointestinal ulcers as well. Through both human and animal studies, curcumin has proven itself to be a very effective treatment for inflammatory intestinal conditions like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And the science behind these conditions, it's not particularly advanced, and actually the way in which the curcumin and turmeric treats these conditions is not really well understood either. But I think broadly speaking we could say that there are two main avenues of therapy here. Obviously the anti-inflammatory nature of turmeric would be one, and also the fact that it inhibits the NF-kappa B signaling pathway, which plays a very key role in pro-inflammatory conditions. And fortunately these benefits can be obtained at very low doses, so simply by eating turmeric and using it as an ingredient in our cooking, this can be a very effective way of receiving these kind of benefits. The antioxidant and anti-inflammatory nature of turmeric has shown to relieve the pain and related joint swelling in conditions like rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, and also things, like inflammatory conditions like bursitis as well. When we apply it externally as a paste onto the affected area, we can receive a lot of benefit, and I can actually attest to this simply because only a number of weeks ago, or maybe like a couple of months ago, I had an accident where I fell to the ground, I really badly hit my elbow on the floor. All of my body weight went into that fall, and the whole impact went on my right elbow. And I had to go to hospital because basically the elbow opened right up. It was a big open wound. So I had that treated. I had it stitched back closed again. And what resulted from that as a kind of long-term injury was that I had impact-related or injury-related bursitis, which meant that, you know, the fluid-filled sac within that joint that helps lubricate the movement had become very irritated and inflamed and swollen. So it became very red, it became very large, it was very painful, and I had very restricted movement in it. So they wanted to prescribe me anti-inflammatory pharmaceutical drugs to use for that purpose. I didn't take any of them. What I actually did was make a paste with turmeric, and I applied it only for about 3 days, and I experienced basically a 90 to 95% reduction in the symptoms of that bursitis within that 3-day period. To be honest, I actually received that level of benefit within about 24 hours, and I continued using it for another couple of days, and it pretty much maintained the same degree of healing over that course of time. I stopped after 3 days, and I haven't really experienced it since, and it was really bad before I used that turmeric paste. So this is very powerful. You know, it really can make a huge difference in these kind of conditions like rheumatoid, osteoarthritis, bursitis, and other such injuries and related conditions. Turmeric can also offer genuine support for those with cystic fibrosis because curcumin is known to, in many cases, correct the delta F508 gene mutation that's responsible for abnormal protein formation, which in turn leads to excessive mucus production within the lungs and throughout the intestinal tract. And of course, just like many of the great adaptogenic herbs, turmeric does offer genuine anti-cancer benefits, and most of what's been studied are the benefits related to breast, lung, prostate, and colon cancer, but there's a lot of other different types of cancer currently in research, one of which shows very promising results, and that's pancreatic cancer. And that's very interesting because pancreatic cancer generally has a very, very poor prognosis, and it is notoriously difficult to recover from. Now, obviously, turmeric's high antioxidant content goes a very long way towards protecting the integrity of healthy cells, but it also inhibits the growth of tumors in various different tissue types, and it can stimulate the process of apoptosis, which is a type of deliberate and programmed cell death. And obviously in this case we're talking about the death of tumor cells specifically, and it does this by shutting down the mitochondria of these tumor cells and thereby starving their energy production process. Curcumin can also inhibit the process of angiogenesis as it relates to tumor proliferation, which essentially means that it stops malignant tumors from creating new blood vessels in order to supply themselves with more nutrients and, of course, consequently grow larger and possibly spread and metastasize into other organs and tissues. Although it should be made clear, I think, that there's certain tumor types that are somewhat chemo-resistant, so they manage to evade apoptosis in a number of different ways. So curcumin or turmeric should always be employed as a part of an overall strategy rather than solely relied upon. Turmeric has also been linked to the mitigation of certain modern lifestyle and environmental factors that have caused childhood leukemia to increase by over 50% in the West in the last 60 years. Phenyl isothiocyanates. I really hope I've pronounced that properly, but these are phytochemicals that are found in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, and cauliflower, and these are said to work synergistically with the curcumin and turmeric to massively reduce the risk of developing prostate cancer in men. Now, prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related death in men in the US, and I think it's really interesting actually that prostate cancer is very rare in India. Another interesting plant partnership that's worth mentioning here is the natural flavonoid quercetin, which when combined with curcumin has shown a seriously increased ability to reduce the formation of tumours and even precancerous polyps in the colon. So eating a meal rich in turmeric and including onions in that meal is a very good idea, and even washing your turmeric rich meal down with a glass of red wine could be a very wise option indeed. But again, you want to make sure that your red wine is organic, maybe biodynamic, and also you've got to make sure that it's sulfite free. Cheers! Turmeric offers excellent liver support. Now, according to Tibetan medicine, the liver, the gallbladder, and the eyes are the solid, hollow, and sense organs related to the internal fire element and obviously related to heat-related pathology. So, if you remember what we said earlier, in Tibetan medicine, turmeric has what they call a post-digestive effect of being cooling, and it's something of an antidote to heat-related pathology. So from this perspective, we can say that it's actually very good for reducing an excess of heat in the liver and actually supporting liver function. But I think we can also understand this from turmeric's high antioxidant content and the fact that it significantly increases liver detoxification enzymes. Because turmeric has a lot of B6, it's able to regulate levels of homocysteine in the blood, which can reduce plaque buildup within the cardiovascular system and the resulting damage to blood vessel walls. And this is also helped by the fact that turmeric's antioxidant content can stop cholesterol from becoming oxidized. And curcumin actually itself acts as a kind of messaging molecule with liver cells, and it informs them to produce more LDL receptors, LDL being what's called bad cholesterol. And by doing that, they can remove more unwanted cholesterol from the bloodstream before it accumulates and, it becomes a serious problem. So this is very important for heart disease, heart attacks, and strokes and that kind of thing. It was written in Tibetan medicine texts a long, long time ago that turmeric is a very effective medicine for neurological disorders, and this is actually being verified by modern science now, because curcumin has the potential to stem the progression of multiple sclerosis because it protects the myelin sheath that surrounds and kind of insulates all of the nerves. Turmeric also offers genuine medicine to those suffering from Alzheimer's disease because curcumin is able to cross the blood-brain barrier, which means that it can interrupt the oxidation of neurons, and in so doing, the formation of amyloid plaques that tend to interrupt normal brain function and actually cause Alzheimer's disease. And in fact, curcumin has been known to inhibit the formation of amyloid B proteins in the brain, much more so than mainstream anti-inflammatory pharmaceuticals, and obviously it can do this without all of the unwanted side effects. But while turmeric is clearly a truly profound medicine that should really be more like a staple food of Western culture, just like it is in the East, it is also very important to maintain a healthy perspective and not be too unrealistic in our expectations, because obviously, as we've seen, turmeric can offer immense benefits, but it isn't going to single-handedly cure everything that ails us. Plus, we're not all going to experience the same results in the same way from one person to another for a variety of different reasons and, different variables. What is critically important, though, is that we consume the best quality turmeric that we can lay our hands on, so we want to get organic. If we can, we want to get biodynamic. And if possible, we want to make our own turmeric powder, which is very important, I think, and it's actually very easy to do. And it's what we are going to discuss further and make together in the next video.